everybody, how you doing? Well, the Flyers aren't great, but that doesn't mean we can't start 2026 with a bang on PHLY Flyers postgame. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity Mobile studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor, here on PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. Well, that was fun. That was a really fun way to spend New Year's, Charlie. You know, I was really hoping for something worth talking about tonight. But that effort was, I can't even call it the effort, because it's not as if they didn't work hard. They just sucked. And we'll get into all of that in just a minute. But of course, I got to tell you about the sweet takeover. That's right, January 6th, now just 5 days away. The Ducks are coming to town, and we're going duck hunting, baby. Come on out. Go to allphly.com/events. Get your tickets for the sweet takeover. Flyers, Ducks, Cutter's coming to town. Trevor Zegras' first game against his old team. We're going to have a ton of fun. allphly.com/events. All right, Chuck. I guess we should just get right into it. I want to start at the beginning, because in the third period, Hartnell actually made the comment I was thinking. Did they forget to freeze the pucks? That was like the sloppiest, bounciest game I've seen that didn't take place like in Newark or the Meadowlands.
Yeah, before we even get into the game, I just want to complain. Like, I'm sorry. Like the last thing I feel like doing right now is breaking down this game, but we're going to do it because it was a game. A hockey game was played. But, like, this was just a waste of time. This was a waste of everyone's time. And I'm not even, like, I'm not mad at the players. Like, sometimes players just have a dud. It was their third game in 4 nights. They just didn't have it tonight. Nobody had it tonight. It's just a bummer that, like, you know, I'm sitting here at 12:09 on New Year's Eve, and I have to talk for an hour about a game that was literally a waste of time.
Yeah, that's the way it felt. There was a couple of times in this game where I was just like, they could have had Wayne Gretzky with Connor McDavid's speed tonight. It just wasn't their night. It was so much
not their
like,
night. Yeah.
This was just a when I'm unhappy with them, you know, I'll just rip them. I don't even know if I'm in the mood to rip them tonight.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because of
really
holiday,
either.
but like it's just like that sucked. That flat out sucked. We haven't got a ton of those this year. It just so happened to be on like the worst possible scenario,
Yeah,
Charlie.
exactly.
And the first period really set the groundwork. 2 total shots on goal, 1 each, through 13 and a half minutes. Ridiculous. The Flames, of course, scored on their second shot. The first period saw the Flyers amass 3 shots on goal, have 7 attempts blocked and 5 misses. The Flames had 3, and I think it was 8 and 8 for them. Just like, okay. Yeah, the Flames win. Good for them. This was a garbage game. Like, they just happened to score a bunch. And so let's get right into it. Let's just start with tonight's game changer, presented by Elkin Chevrolet. Elkin Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Because this is I have a 3-part game changer. There's 3 different things here that I think all kind of contributed. And the first one is going to be probably the topic of the night, Sam Ersson.
Yeah.
The very first goal. Second shot of the game. Obvious pass up to high man in the zone. Slap shot. Come on, bro. We need that save. And that right there is the difference between Ersson and Vladar.
Yeah.
Last night, the Flyers could not find their game. They were even worse last night, the way they were playing.
Yeah, they 10-0 shot on goal difference in the first 11 minutes.
The other team was playing well. You know, like the Flames sucked too in the first period. It's just like they happened to get one. That first one, honestly, everyone after that, I don't even really care. It's the first one. Make that save, dude.
Yeah, and you had the broad, and look, I get it. This isn't taking a shot at Jim Jackson and Scott Hartnell. I know that they are functionally team employees, so they can't bury a guy. But hearing them try to be like, well, maybe it ticked off Nick Seeler's like pants a little bit. Like, look, I get it. I get that pucks change direction a little bit, and that can fool a goalie. However, you cannot tell me that none of the saves that Dan Vladar has made all year have not come after a puck ticked off a defenseman. I guarantee you, if we went back and slowed down the tape of every single shot, a bunch of those saves he made, they probably glanced off the defenseman or glanced off the stick that we didn't see. And you know what happened? Vladar found a way to make the stop. And look, like, obviously you can't blame the one that Drysdale basically bounces right off.
The second
like,
one.
Yes, that's fluky.
Yeah.
But there were others where I'm not even quite sure if I would call them, howlers, glaring goals. But you got to make some saves. You got to get some saves, and he just wasn't giving them saves.
No, that's the thing. Like, the third one, he made some big saves in the 5-on-3. And honestly, I thought, like, that might be the difference. Like, okay, first goal, all his fault to me. Second goal, own goal off Drysdale. What can you do? Then that 5-on-3, he's making some saves. And then they get one, and it's just like, all right, 5-on-3, can you really blame the goalie? But, dog, we needed it. Like, that's what it comes down to, is it's not always just the easy ones that hit you in the chest. If that was the case, just put a shooter-tutor in there. Like, if it was, oh, yeah, well, if it's going to be difficult, if it's on the shelf, it's in the corner, all right, well, it's going in every time. Well, then what's the point of the goalie? Just put the shooter-tutor in. Like, that's really what it comes down to for me. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even see the fourth goal. Ava was coming home from Quizzo, and I wanted to surprise her with some fireworks in the driveway when she pulled up. I went outside immediately after they didn't score on that shorthanded chance, and then they came right down and scored, I'm pretty sure. So that was the fourth goal. But it was really Ersson and the first goal. That is the first part of tonight's game changer.
Yeah.
Second part, goalie interference erases Nick Seeler's goal, would have made it 2-1. It was a great pass by Zegras to get the puck from behind the net to the defenseman up high, through some traffic. I didn't have a problem with this call. What did you think?
I didn't have a problem with either. It's just, like, by the rule and by the way that they call it now, the way they've called it for the last few years, if the player goes into the paint by his own decision, he's not pushed in, he goes in because he took a route that takes him into the paint, and he's in the paint, it's going to get called back if there was any sort of possible blocking of what the goalie could have done, wanted to do, whatever. It's going to get overturned. As soon as I saw that replay, like, yeah, I get the argument that, well, he kind of gets pushed into him and whatever, but he's the one who goes into the paint. It was not one where I came away thinking, like, that's ridiculous. That's completely against the spirit of the rule. Like, no, that's exactly what they want the rule to be. It is.
No, yes, he does he's battling with the defenseman, kind of gets nudged into Wolf. And, like, the puck happens to be on that side, so it's very obvious. But it's everything that leads up to that. And what leads up to that, he entered the paint by himself, and we learned in that second game of the season, if that's what happens, goal ain't going to count. And then the third part of tonight's game changer, it is that after that fourth goal, Sanheim and Devo just somehow can't score that shorthanded opportunity where they had like 3 chances and didn't really get a clean one. And then the Flames come down, make it 4-1. That's game. Like, that's game right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just a matter of, as I said, everybody had it done in this game. Like, somebody's got to finish that chance. I'm not going to pin it on one guy because there are multiple guys that have a chance to put the puck in the net. Like, someone has to bury that. No one does. And that is because you're right. Like, it's 3-1. Okay. They score on that, it's 3-2, and they just got a shorthanded goal. Then maybe all the momentum is in the Flyers camp, and then maybe they can use that as a springboard to have a big comeback in the third. Instead, you're down 4-1, and then the game's functionally over. So, yeah, those are 3 big things that caused this game to be the debacle that it was, but they just didn't have it tonight. Like, they just didn't have it. They talked about it on the broadcast about how, like, the Flyers recently have solved the shot on goal problem. They've been averaging, I think it was like 32.5 shots on goal the last 5 or 6 games. Tonight, they looked like the team that couldn't get a shot on goal against the Flames in early November. They did. They looked like the same team. They looked like they'd made no progress. And I really think they have. Like, I think they have gotten better. I think they've gotten a better handle on the system that Tocchet's preaching. I think they developed more internal chemistry. They're being more instinctual rather than thinking about everything they do before they do it. But this game was a regression. That's what it was. It was a 1-game regression. Hopefully, it is just a 1-game regression. Because, like, yeah, I know they lost to Seattle, and they weren't perfect in that game, but they outplayed Seattle. They had control of the play. They maybe didn't get enough guys to the net. They didn't score dirty goals, but they controlled the play. This game, they were just bad. It hasn't been often this year when they've been straight up just bad. They were just bad tonight. And that's why it's like, look, like we can break down the game, but there's not a lot more you can say other than like they just didn't have it tonight.
No, there's a few things I want to talk about, and that was tonight's Elkins Chevrolet Game Changer. Together, let's drive. Sorry, Elkins. I wish it was something positive. Maybe next time if the Flyers give us that. But really,
give us a honking good time.
Yeah, just the Flyers did not provide honking good service tonight the way Elkins Chevrolet does every single time, Charlie. There's like a couple of things I do want to touch on because it's interesting topics and stuff and things we've talked about pregame or talked about previously, but it really came down to every single time there was an opportunity to swing the momentum, whether it was their fault or happenstance, it just went against them. Puck over the glass where Drysdale's just trying to chip it out.
Yeah,
Dvorak just catches the high stick. Like just so many little, that shorthanded opportunity, the Sealer goal, his first one in like 100 days or whatever, getting overturned. Like every little thing just didn't happen for him tonight. And like, they're not blameless, but yeah, that's just the way it goes. 82 game season. There's going to be duds. That's what we got tonight. And it brings us to tonight's unsung hero presented by Togo. Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute. Togo. And this is something positive I want to talk about. Again, wasn't perfect tonight because the whole team sucked. Another could have had 3 points game for Matvei Michkov, though. And that's why he's the unsung hero, because he easily, alone, with assists, this game could be in overtime right now or a shootout, however much time has passed.
I thought he skated well. I thought he was skating well again. He got 16-16 in terms of time on ice. So, you know, would be nice if he got more minutes in games that actually were close. But hey, we got minutes. He didn't have even a single shot attempt. So I still want to see him be more assertive, trying to take the puck to the net himself. But the playmaking ability and the skating, that was there tonight, more so than many players in the team that have not gotten criticized this season for their fitness level entering camp. So perhaps he is turning the corner and he is on track to have a much better second half than he had first half. I thought he was fine tonight on a game where mostly everybody was bad.
No, there were a couple of plays I wanted to point out because they really stood out to me. Speaking of taking the puck to the net, I thought he was doing it on this one, but it ended up just being a really, really good pass to Juleson, who gets the post because it's that kind of night.
Yeah. The post. Yeah.
He brings the puck around, and he had room, and it looked like Dustin Wolf was kind of shaded towards the middle of the net, not hugging that post. He comes around that left wing side. I was like, this is it. It's Michigan time. But he waits it out, gets it over to Juleson, and Juleson just can't bury it. Really, really nice feed, really good vision. Nice play late in the first. Holding the puck inside the offensive blue line. He's puck handling the by time, then finds Sanheim as the trailer. Sandy ripped it, missed the target. And then he set up Tippett on the rush in the slot. Perfect goal scoring opportunity for a goal scorer. No good. Dustin Wolf stops him. That's Matvei Michkov's night. Easily 3 assistable. If this was basketball where they track potential assists, those are 3 potential assists right there. Yeah. I know that's the difference. Like, it's hockey. There's a goalie. You don't score on every great pass, but one of those could have easily been, and Michkov had an assist or 2 tonight. You know, like just that sort of game for the Flyers.
Yeah, and I'm a big process matters just as much as results, because if you have a good process, eventually the results are going to be there. I think Michkov's process recently has been significantly better, and if he continues to set up as many chances as he's been setting up for these last few games, eventually the goals are going to come from his teammates and the assists are going to start piling up. Obviously, he had 2 nights ago. He could have had 1 or 2 easily tonight. Hopefully that carries over into the Edmonton game and then beyond. And then from when they go back home, maybe he lights up the scoreboard against Cutter Gauthier when we have our sweet takeover on January 6th back at the Xfinity Mobile Arena.
Come on out to that. And up next, we're going to do something I've been talking about for a long time here on Postgame. We're going to try it out, see how it goes, and talk to some of our diehards. We're going to have some callers, and it's going to be Mellerman up first. But right now, we got to take our first break. Listen up, Philly sports fans. It is the season of gifting, and if you're looking for something truly unforgettable this year, I've got the perfect idea. You've got to check out the incredible work from Philadelphia sports artist Jordan Spector over at SpectorSportsArt.com. I personally own one of Jordan's pieces myself, and trust me, these aren't just posters you hang on the wall. These are museum-level artworks of the greatest moments and icon in Philly sports history. His collections come in prints, canvases, and even athlete-partnered trading cards. And get this, one of the newest cards actually includes a piece of Brandon Graham's real game-worn jersey from that matchup in New Orleans. You know, the big one against Kansas City. It does not get more authentic than that. So if you've got a diehard sports fan in your life, or you just want to treat yourself, this is the kind of gift that they will talk about forever. So head over right now to SpectorSportsArt.com. That's SpectorSportsArt.com and grab something epic for the Philly fan in your life. Philly fans, you got to get ready for the ultimate Flyers getaway because PHLY and Philly Sports Trips are taking the biggest Flyers fans out west for a California takeover. And we're not going alone. We're going with Flyers legend John LeClair. That's right, number 10, Johnny Vermont. From March 17th to the 22nd, we're hitting the West Coast for 2 huge games. First, we're going to see Cutter in Anaheim at the Honda Center, and then we're going to go pay a visit to our friends, the Kings, at Crypto.com Arena. Your package includes optional round-trip direct flights from Philly, a 5-night stay at the beautiful Sanborn, Santa Monica, group tickets to both games, a Flyers watch party for the San Jose game, and an exclusive meet and greet with John LeClair himself, plus the Philly Sports Trips crew will be there to handle every detail so you can enjoy the sun, sights, and hockey. This is the California vacation every Flyers fan dreams of, with a couple of wins to top it off, hopefully. Spots are limited. Book your trip at allphly.com/events today. All right, and as promised, as we've been talking about for a little while, I've wanted to do kind of post-game post-game call-ins, kind of sports radio style, get what people are thinking about the game. We're trying it out here on New Year's Eve, and joining us first, it is, you know him as Mellerman in the YouTube chat, Mike Mellerman joining us. How you doing tonight, Mike?
Hello, guys. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on, especially after that wonderful game.
Oh, thank you for sticking with us, because I had this idea, and then we get the game we got, and I'm like, oh, so yeah, no one's going to be doing this. But you are here, Mel. What were your thoughts on this one?
Well, I'm going to talk about Sam. I think that's going to be on a lot of people's minds tonight, judging by what I've seen in the Die Hard Discord so far. Which, by the way, if you're not a Die Hard, you should be.
Look at that.
Agreed.
JH, DA-FlyersMan, and me, we've been driving the Ersson bus for a while now. It's getting a little lonely on that bus, I'm not going to lie. But I still see something worth investing in with Sam. Even after nights,
it's getting
like
harder
this.
To see, Mel. It's getting harder and harder to see.
Even after nights like this, I get it. He did not play well tonight. There were noticeable issues with his technique tonight. In particular, I felt like I saw on 3 out of the 5 goals, he was slow to get back to the top of his crease after being deep. And if I were his goalie coach, that is certainly something I would talk to him about. He has consistency issues with his technique frequently in positioning. And when we talk about the differences between him and Dan Vladar, Dan reads the play exceptionally well, which allows him to get into position just a half second quicker, allows him to get set, allows him to get square. He makes these saves look routine that are, they're not easy saves that he's making. This is where I see Sam struggle consistency-wise. We see Sam make great saves sometimes, and he has the talent to have that consistency. He just needs to find that consistency. And I feel like the Flyers need to give him that opportunity to find that consistency.
Yeah, I mean, I think where I'm at, and I would consider myself to be something of an Ersson defender. My thing was I want to evaluate him after the season. Obviously, we're now nearly halfway through the season, and ain't a lot of good to evaluate thus far. I think it's worth saying that, like, we're obviously talking about Dan Vladar being really good, which he has been for the Flyers. Dan Vladar had bad seasons. Dan Vladar had in a season where he had an .882 save percentage when he was younger, and now he has developed into a fully formed, legitimately good goalie. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Sam Ersson could do the same thing as he gets older, as he gets a better understanding of the nuances of the position, especially at the NHL level. To me, the question now is it worth the Flyers' time to give him that opportunity? Or are they going to look at it as, okay, he's clearly not going to be our future number one, so are we better served giving those starts to someone else who maybe has a better chance of being part of the future? It's an interesting question. It's worth at least discussing, because he hasn't been bad every game. And we talked in pregame that he was getting better, but he had the real bad game against the Rangers. Now he had this one, which is another bad game. That's two legitimately poor games that he was a big reason why they lost over the last 12 days. When he's your backup, that's rough.
That's my thing, Mel, is I was on board with this as he's working through those struggles a couple of years ago, and then he found it and was really, really good until, the starter got taken away and he just had the entire workload put on him. And then last year he's got the struggles. At a certain point, the Flyers are going to reach we are trying to win. Can we give away half of our backup games? Especially if it's only going to be, hey man, we're giving you 30 starts. 15 of them were no contests. Can they afford to do that as they now attempt to turn this corner? If it's going to come down in the East to a few points, those are going to be a couple of Ersson starts.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you on that. And, not much I can argue with that after tonight's game. No, but I will say, when you're, you said it yourself, his first 2 years developmentally were unusual, to say the least.
The circumstances are why I don't want to just say leave him in Calgary.
Well, and now that we have Vladar, who seems capable of serving in a traditional number one role this year so far, knock on wood, we can afford to give Sam that time as a true backup to really find his game. And if he finds his game, then we will have a useful goalie on our hands. And that's something that we shouldn't just toss away.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think kind of where I'm at with it is, I agree. I've always been of the opinion they should give him the season and then evaluate from there, because this is the first season he's really getting a fair shot where he's not being handed a ridiculous workload or being asked to basically not have a backup goalie because the other two guys aren't NHL caliber goalies. That's all fair, but we're now halfway through the season and he isn't showing progress. And look, I don't know what the Flyers are going to do. Maybe they will go out and trade for a goalie because they're really going to make a push to the playoffs. My guess is they're just going to let it ride. But now we are nearly halfway through the season, and we're still having the same debate of is he any good? I don't know. There's still a possibility that he has a real good second half, but I didn't see anything tonight to give me a lot of confidence that that's going to come out of nowhere, and in January he's going to turn back into a legitimately good goal. I hope he does. I don't know I don't know what we've seen to give us the confidence that's going to happen.
I mean, honestly, Charlie, I would not be outraged if they brought him back for next year, because he'll be cheap, and you've got young guys in the prospect pipeline who are not ready yet, and you want them to prove that they're ready. And that has been the philosophy of this front office for sure, is have, if a young guy is going to take a spot, he has to take it from a veteran. So have one of the young guys take Sam's job next year if it comes out to that. And
that's very much, because he's an RFA after this year, I believe. Yes, it's not like he's just going to walk. Contract. You don't really like to give up assets. I know people are sick of him. My thing is, though, it's a competition from day one. Say he steadies and he's okay in this second half, or even if he just continues to not be very good, he's the incumbent. But there is very much he's getting primaried. He's getting freaking primaried in training camp day one. That's how I'm looking at this thing right now. Yeah. Mike, we appreciate you joining us so very much. I hope to do this again soon. Love having someone who can talk a little goaltending with us, get into some of the X's and O's and the intricacies of the position. We have, I think, a couple of more people on hold. Thank you very much, and
Thanks,
for
Mellerman.
joining us on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line. Hope to do this again soon.
Thank you, guys. Anytime you want me, I'm here.
Absolutely. Thank you. That is Mellerman, our pal from the YouTube chat, checking in here to talk about, the status of the Ersson Pearsons, Charlie, because I guess that's what I'm looking at now. I think we have a couple more people. Brenna will tell me when they are ready to go.
I think where I'm at with Ersson, truthfully, if we're talking about this idea of next year, I don't think I would rush out and trade for a goalie or call up Kolosov and throw. I think I think I would probably just ride with Ersson the rest of the year, cross my fingers that he gets better. If he doesn't get better, and if he just finishes the season with an .870 save percentage, and this is just what we get from him the rest of the year, I personally would have zero problem if they just didn't qualify him and then went out and signed somebody else, or made it an open competition between Kolosov and Bjarnason for the job next year. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I also wouldn't necessarily have a problem with them re-signing him to a cheap deal. But, and this is the guy who comes to mind for me, basically treating him next year the way they treated Egor Zamula this year, where it's like, okay, you're on the team, but you're on very, very thin ice, and you could get jumped very, very quickly, whether that's in camp or whether that's in the first 2 months of the year. Your job is not secure, and by the end of December, you might not be on the team if you don't get your gaming gear.
Yeah, I very much, the second half, he's in evaluation to me. Right now, he's back, but because there's really no other option, I don't want to bring up Bjarnason or Kolosov too early.
Yeah, neither do I.
That just doesn't seem, and going out and spending on a backup, if they were to go out and make other moves this summer, if they have the big summer, some of us are really hoping, and it's all about winning next year and Porter Martone and all that, yeah, man, they need to go get a backup. But if it's kind of more evaluation, more of the same, I guess I could live with bringing him back, but it's an internal competition. It's all right, well, Kolosov, I don't want you up here, but maybe you gotta be because you're better than this guy. All right, on the other side, we will have more callers on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line. We will have yet another guest, but right now it's time for our second break. Just this afternoon, I'm over at a friend's place. He is pumped to be watching some football. There's some hockey games on, and I'm happy to be with him, but his setup, it's a total mess. We're talking lagging, we're talking buffering, switching between all these apps to try to find the games we're looking for. I've known him his whole life. He claims he's a big fan, but I feel like I've been fan-fished. You see, if you call yourself a hockey fan, if you call yourself a football fan, a sports fan of any kind, you gotta have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find all the best games and all my favorite teams all in one place, and the way I watch, it is next level. It's the perfect fan flex. You get all the action right in your living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K is so clear, feels like I'm in the arena, and sometimes I can even get up to 4 games going at once with the multi-view, because why not? So next game day, make sure you're a big fan and not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. Do we really want Matvei Michkov playing goalie? No, because it's not worth the risk, time, or money. It just doesn't make sense. You want to keep your stars focused on doing what they do best, and the same goes for your business, and Togo can help any business looking to streamline operations, become more efficient, or unlock more time for their best people. From customer service and accounting to order management, logistics, admin, and data entry, and even complex multi-step operational processes, Togo takes it off your plate at a fraction of the cost. And every engagement with Togo starts with free process mapping and engineering. Togo doesn't bill a dime until the real work begins, with programs starting as low as $1,000 a month, so you're not even going to break the bank. Each Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, and US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, you call the plays, we execute. Visit harnesstogo.com. Scale smarter, work faster, and stay focused on winning. All right, so for any of the diehards, any of the PHLY diehards watching right now, you just saw Mellerman join us. It is that easy. There's a link in the diehard Discord under Flyers Game Day. click it, and we might have you on the show tonight. About
That-
30
that-
minutes
that-
left.
That said, we have a hard stop, so we're not going to go over what we have to go over
Ain't
to
no
put you on.
overtime
I'm sorry.
tonight. In fact, just to let the super chatters know, we love the super chatters. If we have to cover the super chats and pregame on Saturday, we're doing that. We love you, but it's NYE. All right, it is time to bring on DA-FlyersMan, one of our favorite super chatters.
Yay.
Well, that takes care of it right there. Like, one of our top super chatters is just joining us, so he doesn't need the super chat. How you doing tonight, DA?
Well, I'm not quite sure I can afford a super chat at this point in time anyway, so you guys are probably safe. Happy birthday to 2026.
Absolutely.
And you know how it goes. Like, it's a new year. That means all of our bank accounts get replenished automatically, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was told would happen.
Yeah,
exactly. If I could just quit the game and then reload, all my stats will be full.
Exactly. That's how
I'm
it
trying
works.
to respawn at 17 personally.
Oh, don't get me started. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about this game tonight. One, because I was only half paying attention to it.
Fair.
Two,
so were they.
Extremely good call.
Two, negativity is poisonous, and I refuse to be negative, so I'm going to be positive. And overall, my overall view of this season is that I'm more excited than I have been, for quite a while. We got to remember this is a young team. At the start of the season, it was like the fourth youngest roster in the league. It probably, I don't know, maybe it's a little slightly older now because Forster's gone.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
also, like, if you take out Delorier and Hathaway, put in like Grunstrom, maybe there's like a little offset there as well.
They're probably still around the same area.
Yeah.
I would think. Maybe down a couple spots at most, but they're probably still right there. They are a young team. You're absolutely right. Tim.
Yeah.
you mean Carl Gretzky?
Carl Gretzky.
Yeah. But yeah, we have so many young players who are contributing. And this team is not a great team. We got a lot of, as we've talked about ad nauseum, we have a lot of overtime, lost points or whatever. But this is a good team. It's up in the standings. It's it's in contention for a playoff spot. It's not a cup, contender clearly. But if these young players, remember how young Jamie Drysdale's still a young player. He's been around forever, but he's still a young player. Saber Trevor Zegras, he's been around forever, but he's still seems like he's been around forever anyway. He's still a young player. Cam York still improving, and he's a solid second pair defenseman, probably first on this team, but second on a real good team. And my favorite player, Tyson Forster, is obviously he's having a little trouble staying healthy recently, but that's not something that's really part of his MO. So, and I think a lot of times people, I don't know, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel like it's underestimated his importance to this rebuild. Like, to me, like he's only slightly less impactful to the team's future than Matvei Michkov is. Like, Michkov is, we're looking at him as the cornerstone, and even though he's not scoring at the rate that we were expecting him to this year, I think if you're giving up on the guy, you're crazy. And
I totally agree.
And if you think that a couple 40 games of being coached by Rick Tocchet is going to destroy the guy, I think you're underestimating the guy's mental toughness from what I've seen. But he's the guy. But man, I really feel like Tyson Forster is like a 40 goal potential guy. And this team, we're always begging for a sniper until we get like what's the guy's name who wears number 74? Owen Tibbett. How did I forget that guy's name? Who's like a sniper but inconsistent, and then we're like, oh, not that sniper, But I think that Forster is like, he's obviously great defensively as well. He thinks the game well. He's not fast as hell, but he can curse. No, sorry about that.
That's fine.
He's not super fast, but he can move, decently. And I think the fact that we're still maintaining our place in the standings without him in the lineup and without Michkov playing to 100% of his potential is really a positive sign, for the future. And I really like what's happening. Even, as Mellerman mentioned previous to this, I'm one of the co-pilots of the Ersson person train, but he's not doing it for us this year, clearly. Although I still see glimpses of something that could be a solid NHL goalie, even though he hasn't shown it so far. don't look now, but we were all tired of Alexei Kolosov last year because of his his
Demands.
attitude and
Antics.
how crappy he was on the ice. But don't look now, but he's playing pretty well for the Phantoms this season. And like I said, I was like, I'm not ready to give up on this guy. He's young, I'm not saying he's going to step in and be the backup this year or even next year, but the guy's got potential. And then if Egor Zamula can avoid being killed while sitting on the bench,
only a
Oh, yeah,
Flyers
that was
prospect
rough.
did that happen.
It made me think: is it like common practice in the KHL to wear your full goalie equipment on the mask and everything on the bench? Because if it's not, and he just does that, then he sold the future, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But
All right,
but yeah,
DA, we really appreciate you coming by tonight on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line.
I'll see you
Thank
guys
you.
at the Sweet Takeover. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you for helping us ring in the new year with a little positivity. I do think it's important to remember, TK, slower start, starting to really get it going now. 8 goals this month. Looks like he's back. Charlie called last night his John Wick game. Tonight he scores again. But Michkov, not quite the same player he was last year, at least production-wise. Forster's gone, and it's kind of been out of sight, out of mind. I look at the lineup, and I'm like, something's missing, and I forget. And he was such a big part of this thing. He's still one of the team's leading goal scorers. So I do think it is important to remember that as we kind of navigate this middle part of the season. Thank you for helping us ring in the new year with some positivity. We'll see you January 6th at the Sweet Takeover.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, guys.
Sounds
All
good.
right,
Thanks,
thank
DA.
you, DA.
I do want to go in a little bit about Tyson Forrester because it's interesting. You don't usually hear people say that they think that Forrester could be, maybe not quite as important to the long term as Michkov, but close. And I don't think I share DA's opinion of Forrester's potential, but I can see where he's coming from. We're if you think that Tyson Forrester can be a 40-goal guy who drives play to an extremely strong degree, then yeah, I mean, that guy is extremely important. It is, maybe not quite on the level of what we're hoping Michkov is going to be, which is going to be like a 100-point player a year type of guy. But, a 40-40 guy with elite advanced metrics, yeah, he's right there. I mean, I'm thinking about a guy like Mark Stone. That's always been the name that's been thrown out there. Another guy, if we're talking about 40-goal guys with incredible advanced metrics, Jason Robertson. I mean, hey, he could be as good as Jason Robertson. Then he too could get snubbed.
He too could be an Olympic
USA.
sub one day. Yeah.
Actually, it would be Team Canada
know,
for Forrester, but you know what I'm saying.
We already know that Sidney Crosby likes Tyson Forster. So when he becomes Prime Minister of Canada and takes over Hockey Canada as well, he'll be able to make that team because only Crosby's buddies get to make the team. We know this to be a fact. Chuck, there was
Chris Kunitz.
Just ridiculous.
Still bitter about that. Claude Giroux should have made the Olympic team, not Chris Kunitz, just saying.
You can think all you want about Claude Giroux. Was he a good captain? Was he elite? All this. He deserved to go over Chris Evan Kunitz. Anyway, water under the bridge, I guess.
It will never be under the bridge, William. Never.
I know. I'll be mad about it until the U.S. wins a gold, so forever. Charlie's... Oh, okay. I saw a message and I thought it was from Brenna, but no. Chuck, something I did want to talk to you about tonight's game. Jamie Drysdale. I like Jamie Drysdale a lot. Dry guy, the fly guy. That was my shirt idea. I enjoy watching him. He opened it up again tonight with the puck on his stick, got moving. Really good 5-on-5. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of him on the power play. Another flubbed shot. I think his stick broke. I don't even care about the circumstances. I'm all good. And I'll tell you why. It's partially because of Rick Tockett's reasoning as to why he's still doing it. Well, we're trying to develop him into it. I'm sorry. Why doesn't Matvei Michkov get that grace?
Yeah. I made that point on Twitter. And look, I get where Tockett's coming from with the Michkov stuff. I do. But if you're going to say that in Michkov's case, that I care more about winning games than I do about, giving this kid more minutes than I think is good for the team, then I don't know why you're throwing Jamie Drysdale out there on the top power play unit. And maybe one day Jamie Drysdale will become a good power play quarterback. And maybe he does just need reps. Maybe. But if you're going to set the standard that the focus of this year is winning as many games as possible, because that's what's going to help the development of the team, then Cam York is the better option on that power play unit. He just is. He's actually getting power play points. He's actually showing chemistry with Trevor Zegras. I don't understand why we continue to try to fit a square peg into a round hole in this situation, but then don't prioritize development in other situations. It does strike me as a bit of a double standard here. And I don't dislike Jamie Drysdale. It just strikes me as unfair.
It's not as if Cam York is some 32-year-old rental.
Yeah.
Like, he is also a huge part of the future. And I just had to look up some stats tonight because honestly, I got tired of the game, so I kind of dove into this topic a little
bit. Fair.
Jamie Drysdale has played 132 games as a Flyer, I guess 133 now. He has 11 power play points. He has averaged 2 minutes and 12 seconds of power play time a game since he got here. York has played 139 games as a Flyer, Andre 70 over those time spans since Drysdale got here.
Sure.
They have both averaged 1:04 of power play time in those games. He is getting more than double the time in that time. Drysdale has 11 power play points.
One more point than York.
York has 10.
Yeah.
And Andre has 4. Like, given that amount of ice time, Andre would have as many or more points than Drysdale. Drysdale has played 48.5% of Philly's power play time since he got here on January 10th, 2024. York and Andre are both below 25%. And yet somehow York has 1 fewer point. And we've seen it. York can rip a one-timer. Yes, because he's left-handed. Maybe they have to do that little switcheroo we've seen him and Zegras do, where Zegras takes it from the right to the left and then goes back to the right, and that's how you set up the one-timer. But that resulted in a goal. I think it's 1 goal and 10 assists for Drysdale on the power. He's not good at it. Let's get someone who is good at it and then make them better by developing them. If we're prioritizing development, let's maximize what we have. That is something that has bothered me.
It annoys me too. And also because, again, if we're going by the argument that winning is going to help development because winning makes everyone feel better about themselves, and then more guys are scoring and then they're developing in that sense, that should very much apply to the power play. Because if you have, and I'm not saying Cam York is a stud on the power play, I'm just saying he's the best option they appear to have to be the defenseman on that top unit with the guys who are going and the guys that are going to get the most ice time. If you put the best guy up top, presumably that makes the lives of the other 4 guys, a lot of whom are also in developmental processes, it makes their life easier and it makes them more likely to develop on the power play. It just feels like it's just weird. I think that's my big thing.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's annoying and weird.
It's weird that in this one case, the Flyers seem to be prioritizing development over winning, when in seemingly every other instance, they're prioritizing winning over development. And I had somebody in my mentions make this point, and look, I am the furthest thing from a conspiracy theorist. I rail against them constantly, but someone made the point, and I'm like, you know what? I can't rule it out entirely. They were like, do you think that the fact that Cutter Gauthier is tearing it up at Anaheim motivates them to try to continue to force Drysdale on the power play so that they can point to Drysdale being a 55-point guy and be like, see, it wasn't that bad of a trade? Do you think there could be something to that? Because maybe.
I hope not, because he's good at other stuff.
Yes, he's a good player.
Counting stats.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about the people like me who are going to use points as then you're worried about the wrong stuff. Let him be good at what he's good at.
And that's the thing. I don't want to come off as ripping on Jamie Drysdale. I think he's been really good at 5-on-5 this year. He's made dramatic improvements in his defensive game. He hasn't made any improvements on the power play, though.
None. He's maybe regressed. All right. On the other side, we're going to get 3 stars. We're going to talk about Sanheim in the Olympics, the Zamula trade. We're going to get to your super chats, but now it is time for our final break. Let me tell you about a local business that's been helping Philly homeowners and businesses stay pest-free. It's Evans Pest Control. And this isn't some giant national chain. They're a family-owned, community-focused pest control company right here in the Philly area, and they've been earning the trust of our neighborhoods for years. Evans Pest Control uses a state-of-the-art equipment, safe and effective treatment options, and their techs go through continuous training, so they're equipped to handle anything. We're talking rodents, we're talking insects, termites, and even bed bugs. They offer priority services and consultations, which is huge when you have a problem with pests. Everyone in Philly knows pests don't knock, they just show up. Evans Pest Control is your solution. So if you see signs of pests or just want to prevent them before they start, reach out to Evans Pest Control. Visit evanspestmgmt.com to schedule your free consultation. That's Evans Pest Control at evanspestmgmt.com. Whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win on the BetParx online casino app. You got to check out brand new casino games like Huff N' More Puff and Fireblaze Sky Queen, a BetParx exclusive. You can play blackjack, you can play roulette, craps, poker, baccarat, and hot online slots like Cash Eruption and 88 Fortunes. You can play all your favorite classic casino games from wherever you are, and right now, new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You can play hot online slots based on your favorite streaming shows like The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad, even nostalgic favorites like The Goonies. All your favorite classic casino games from wherever you are. It's the only app I ever use to play all my favorite casino games right in the palm of my hand. To play, just go to betparx.com and download the app right now to enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 years old and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play, you play to win, you bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Just call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Chuck, it is time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Good luck with this one, pal. Who is star number 3? Who could it possibly be?
Oh yeah, this is difficult. Okay. Star
This
number
is
3.
where your Flyers only thing really bites you.
Yeah, it really does. Star number 3. This is a tough one because you could easily spin this as a negative because he had all these chances, but he didn't finish on any of them, and that played into why they lost. However, Christian Dvorak did have a lot of chances in this game. He got credited for 4 high danger chances. I believe the broadcast, because Jim Jackson tracks his own scoring chances, which is subjective, but he owns it. It's just like, hey, this is what we think a scoring chance was. I think he had Dvorak for 6. So Dvorak was doing stuff. He wasn't finishing, and that's a problem, a one-game problem, let's say. But hey, he was making things happen. He was creating legitimate scoring chances. So from that and that alone, I'm giving him 3rd star in a game where there really isn't anybody else to give it to.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Who's star number 2?
Star number 2 is the guy who scored a goal, Travis Konecny.
Hey.
He scored a goal. It's his 8th goal in December. He had a real good goal-scoring month. He did something tangible on the score sheet, and for that reason, he is 2nd star.
All right, and finally, tonight's 1st star.
Tonight's 1st star is, for the 2nd time this year, all of us for having to watch that debacle of
including you, Mellerman. I see him still in the green room, and he was pointing to himself. You are included with that, as is DA-FlyersMan.
There we go. But yes, this is the 2nd time I've given this out, and this one is especially warranted. You all are 1st star because well, you know what? You're 1st star if you sat through this game, because that means that you have extraordinary discipline to sit through that entire game, given how ugly it was to watch. 1st star,
all right.
It's you.
Quickly, before we get to Super Chats, because we didn't talk about the Zamula trade at all, we have plenty of time to talk about Sanheim making the Olympics. They're 2 months away.
Yeah.
Zamula traded today to Pittsburgh for Philip Tomasino. Interesting. The reason I find it interesting, there's a couple of things. Could this signal, I know they were just trying to get anything for the guy rather than terminate his contract. Do you think this signals, though, Denver Barkey is here to stay and this is his replacement?
That's an interesting question. I don't necessarily think it means he's here to stay, but I always thought that he was probably going to get, at least a decent leash, give him 10, 12 games, see where he's at. If he's still sitting on 2 assists after 12 games and he had those 2 assists in his very first game, yeah, he impressed, but you probably want to send him back and let him build up his offensive confidence. But hey, he's playing well. And if eventually the points start coming, whether that's next week when they're back home, whether that's in Edmonton, then yeah, I think they'd be okay with keeping him up for quite a while, in fact. And Tomasino does give you an obvious top 6 option down in the AHL. He's always scored well in the AHL. For Zamula, it was clear based off of that Elliot Friedman report that he wanted out. He didn't want to spend any more time in the AHL. He was willing to terminate his contract. The Flyers' response was, look, we'd rather get something back for you. Well, guess what? They got something back for him. Yeah. Philip Tomasino is fine. He is a guy who, when he's played in the NHL, he's produced. Has he been terribly impressive in addition to that production? Not really, but his underlying numbers tend to fall somewhere in like the 45th to 50th percentile among NHL forwards. He scored like a third liner. He's the kind of guy who is a perfectly acceptable dude to call up and throw in your bottom six for 4 games. And hey, maybe you call him up because a couple guys get hurt and he becomes the next Carl Grundstrom, or in an absolute best case scenario, he becomes your next Ryan Poehling. Most likely what's going to happen is that Tomasino is maybe going to get a couple games due to injuries. Then at the end of the year, the Flyers will not issue him a qualifying offer. He'll become a free agent. He'll sign with somebody else. But he's not garbage. He's a useful enough depth player. And given the fact that Egor Zamula wanted out, they got back a useful enough depth player for Zamula, who is probably the same, a useful enough depth player who just had run his course in Philadelphia.
The fact that they got like a familiar name, like a player who you kind of know a little bit, for a dude that they were just going to lose in like a week if they terminated his contract, kind of funny to me. Couldn't Pittsburgh just have claimed him on waivers?
Well, I think part of it is that they want to have the ability to send him down. That's the big thing. Because they could have claimed him on waivers, but then they would have had to keep Zamula up. Now that he has cleared waivers, they have the flexibility to assign him to the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton Penguins, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. I don't remember what the order is there. I think it's Wilkes-Barre, Scranton Penguins. Yeah. But they could assign him straight to there and then call him up when they need him. Whereas if they would have claimed him, they would have had to keep him up with the big club. And look, we've watched Egor Zamula this year. He doesn't look like a clear-cut NHLer at this moment in time.
All right, it's time to get the super chats. And again, we have a hard out. So if you think you're going to play pranks on us by adding, we're going to just be done and we'll answer your questions. We know you paid for them and we're pleased.
Well, we'll get to them eventually.
We'll get to them like Saturday pregame. All right, I need to expand my screen to see this. There we go. All right, David Shubb. Happy New Year from Maui.
Ooh, wow. That's a good place to celebrate.
That's not bad. Watch the whole game in the rental car line thinking of y'all. It's only 7 p.m. Living it up in your honor, bros. Refs sucked.
How long was this rental car line?
Dear Lord.
2.5 hours? Yikes.
That first period flew by. I thought we were going to be in and out before midnight, but
it was a quick one.
Then it slowed down tremendously.
Unfortunately.
All right, thank you for joining us, even from Maui, David. That's huge. That's David and Adam
right
S, they rule. All right, next one is Hat-Trick Patrick. Air should be working at McDonald's, not the Flyers.
I love the I love the idea of like working at the Flyers. Like, where do you work? At the Flyers.
I like that those are the options. Like, not in the AHL, not in the ECHL, not in Europe. He has to go take a minimum wage job. Those are his qualifications.
I do not.
First of all, he's so handsome, male model. Like, what are we doing here?
He's a very nice person, too. Yeah. Like, he's a very likable guy. Hat-Trick Patrick, I do not share your hatred for Sam Ersson, but I do understand where you're coming from because he did not have a good game tonight and has very poor numbers this season. So I get it. Be a fan.
You know what? I think I have a great comparison. 2 guys we saw tonight. I'm just done with them. Farabee and Frost. You know what? Maybe he ends up being a decent enough NHL goalie. I don't want to see it here. I want something else. But
we're halfway through the season, and
on a prayer.
Maybe in the second half he turns it around. I hope he does. I'll be rooting for him. But if he doesn't, I will be right there with you, Bill, in the the Sam Ersson, the Sam Ersson experiment, this whole thing, it's probably run its course. But I would give him the rest of the season to prove that he can change the narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. What the hell else are they going to do? Gets a guy off waivers who also stinks? All right. Next one up now is, again, Hat-Trick Patrick says, Happy New Year. A pessimist once said, things can't possibly get any worse. An optimist replied, sure they can. Listen, I know we're down, and I was actually thinking, okay, 2025 is over. We know, obviously the season has passed, but the 50-year thing, it's now 51 officially, right? It is no longer 1975 to 2025. We're in that next year. It's 51, but I'm optimistic right now. I don't feel as if, things can't get any worse. But that game, it was just okay, how can it get worse? That game is the embodiment of that.
That is true. I will quote the esteemed philosopher Benjamin Gibbard and say, so this is the new year, and I don't feel any different.
All right. Next one is But Slophead Go Birds, Mount Rushmore of Flames.
I don't know the Flames well enough to be able to do a Mount Rushmore. Like what? Well, they had Jerome McGinley, obviously.
McGinley, Lanny
Mike
McDonald's mustache.
Vernon.
That's a good one, Vernon. Oh, Kippersoft. That's a good one too.
Yeah,
Melanie.
Kippersoft probably. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the Flames all that well, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I don't like. Maybe Johnny Hockey.
Yeah.
Even though he left, he had great years there.
Lanny McDonald's mustache and that lifting the cup photo. That's got to be on there.
Sure.
All right. I think we have one or two more here. Yeah. All right.
Ooh, good
point.
I have
no idea what that's.
Tobadiah Stain.
Okay.
It's a reference to the first Iron Man movie.
I did want to actually talk about this, but I didn't know if there'd be time. He says Andre doesn't play, Flyers lose. #noticing. You know, they could have used a little bit of breakout passing tonight. That might have helped.
Yeah.
What did you think? So they tell us on the broadcast, we talked pregame, like, is it a healthy scratch? Could he be a little banged up? Because he did take warm-ups. He just wasn't in line rushes. And usually that tells me he's, like, testing something. But then the broadcast starts the game, and they're like, yeah, there's a lineup change, and it's a healthy scratch for Andre. He had played, I believe it was 26 straight games. 26 straight. What do you think of him being a healthy scratch tonight just to get Juleson in, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Like, if it's a one-game thing where, look, he's a rookie, or not a rookie, a second-year guy, but he's a young guy. He hasn't quite got the the cachet that the vets have. If this is a case of like, look, Juleson's got to get into a game. We got to keep him from getting too cold. And sorry, Emil, you're the guy who checks out because we're not going to scratch Nick Seal or Rasmus Line. And so you're the dude who has to give away for one game. I'm fine with that. Like, you can't keep a guy on the bench as much as you might want to. You can't keep a guy on the bench for like a month and a half straight. You got to play him at some point. So I'm cool with it if that's all it is. If this is the start of a trend of him getting scratched, then I have an issue with it. But I get that, like, you do have to get the guys who sit for a while in at some point, and he is the most logical guy to sit without there being a big stir in the locker room because you sat an established vet.
Yeah, I get that. It's a little annoying, but if it's just one game, it's just one game. It's a back-to-back. You got a fresh guy in there, hasn't played in a while. I can live with it. Juleson has given you decent minutes this year, despite what we thought was going to happen. So as long as it's just one, if it's every now and then, I'm fine with it. All right, and that seems to be it. That's all of the Super Chats.
Wow,
yeah. Chuck, we ran through this thing. I am freaking proud of us.
I am too.
Because we have to kill like a minute. I did the Sanheim somewhere. John Tortorella is taking credit for this joke in pregame. I will say, does he deserve a little credit for noticing or for utilizing the versatility of putting him on the right side? Because if you look at how Team Canada listed it, he's a right side defenseman, and he's a lefty shot.
I would say this. When John Tortorella got let go, I had a conversation on the record, but I have a good relationship with Travis Sanheim, so it didn't feel like this was like canned. It felt like this was sincere. Yeah. I had a conversation with Travis Sanheim about it, and I asked him, what do you feel about this? Like, what are your feelings about John Tortorella? And he's like, look, like, I'm not going to lie. What he did to me in Calgary, like, that hurt. And it was tough. And sometimes it was tough playing for John Tortorella. And I get that there were guys on the team that didn't love playing for John Tortorella, probably more than I didn't love playing for John Tortorella. But he's also like, look, I can't deny that I am probably a better hockey player because of the things that he did and the way that he coached me and the degree to which he pushed me. And I think that's probably true, is that, yeah, what Torts did get more out of Sanheim than anybody else did. Also, Torts probably went over the line in terms of just sheer cruelty to Travis Sanheim in a way that Sanheim, while acknowledging that, yeah, Torts got more out of me than any other coach, he's probably never going to ever fully forgive him for that. And I get that.
He's Torts is Dr. Cox. He is the harsh teacher who doesn't care if you like him or not, as long as you learn. I guess that's what we can say. All right, and that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers postgame, brought to you by Bet365. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on YouTube and hit the like button. We just gave you a New Year's Eve 60 minutes of content. Who else did that for you? Nobody. Make sure you like, make sure you're subscribed, all that stuff. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. Follow the podcast as well. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thank you so much to Brenna. Happy New Year. Be excellent to each other in 2026.